Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big Brighton welcome to Michael McIntyre.
Tonight I'll be introducing you to some of the finest stand-up comedians the world has to offer right here in my favourite place of them all. It's Brighton! Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for my first guest? Please give all your love as well to the stage one of, if not the favourite comedian of mine on the circuit right now, Mr. Mickey Flanagan!
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. How nice it is to be in Brighton. Oh, this is where we come from South East London to relax. And it does make you relax, come to Brighton, doesn't it? Because you get on the train in South East London, you're all stressed out, and you get to Brighton, you get off the train, and you look down the hill, and all the stresses and strains start to leave you. Quite a lot of the ambition as well. You're barely in Brighton 2 hours and you're starting to think, I'm going to go part-time. Very nice to be here. I actually come from the East End of London. Like most East End kids, I messed up my education because they left the gate open. I went to a tough inner-city comp with low expectations. In the third year, the careers officer turned up and he asked us what we'd like to do with our lives. The most ambitious kid in the class is Gary Hutton, because he wants to drive a van. We erupted. We're like, you dreamer, Hutton. You's never going to drive a van. You have to write to Jimmy Savile for that stuff, man. No kid from this school has ever gone on to drive a van.
Are you ready for our next guest, ladies and gentlemen? Please welcome a fine comedian, one of my favourites indeed. It's the wondrous Miss Jo Caulfield!
Thank you, very lovely Brighton. It's not all lovely though, is it? I've been down West Street on Saturday night. And this afternoon, I went over to the Churchill Centre and I was just wandering around because it's not all vegetarian shoes and wind chimes, is it? Let's be honest. And I was looking around, honest to God, the people in there, and I was thinking, this is weird because everyone's dressed for the gym, but you know no one's going. Isn't it? They're all covered in, like, Nike, Adidas, Kappa. I think it's ironic, isn't it, that often the more words people have written on their clothing, the less they can actually read. But to be honest with you, recently I've been having trouble sleeping, so I did actually go to the doctor about it, and she said the thing they always say, like 4 or 5 hours before you go to bed, don't drink any more tea or coffee. But then she goes, in fact, the best thing to do is have a relaxing glass of wine. How nice is that for a doctor? So that's what I've been doing. So every night before I go to bed, I have a glass of wine. I mean, it's not always easy, you know, because sometimes I'm already very drunk.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for my next guest? Please welcome one of the rising stars of British comedy. It's Mr. John Richardson!
Hello. How are you? I'll give you a couple of seconds to readjust, because I recognise I come as quite the anticlimax. Down in and out. Oh, yeah! Oh, dear. Seriously, though. It's important how you talk, because people decide very quickly whether they can be bothered to listen to you or not. And the best tip I ever got was from a teacher, because it's important that teachers are heard, because they impart, you know, serious facts. my teacher, the best teacher I've ever had was my technology teacher. To make us listen at school, what he used to do, every now and again, he'd put a little speech impediment on, right? Not a big one, just sometimes at the end of sentences, he'd make a little noise. So we'd be sat round and he'd go, don't forget, lads, if you are going to do a dovetail joint, just reinforce it with some PVA glue. And that was it. That is poetry when you're 15. That is one lesson you are never missing. And of course, it's genius for a teacher, because we were listening out for it, accidentally learning stuff. And I think he knew, because as a reward, he'd always do a nice big one at Christmas. Like, don't forget, lads, that will be on the exam.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for a headliner? It is a great pleasure to introduce one of the leading lights of comedy. Please go wild for the pub landlord, Mr. Al Murray!
Let's hear it for the beer! All hail to the ale! And welcome the wine for the neighbours. Good evening. Look at this beautiful audience. Hey, look at this Muppet show over front row as well. Fantastic. Hey, what's your name, sir, on the end?
James.
James. Beautiful British name. What do you do, sir?
I'm a translator.
You're a translator. Fantastic. What language?
Spanish and English.
Spanish into English? What's the point? I've met some time wasters in my time. You are top of the pile, aren't you, pal? Do os cervezas, por favor. Job done. 2 beers, please. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's not like we're going to have a war with Spain, is there? You're surplus to requirements, aren't you, pal? Welcome. Great to have you. You are beautiful people, though. Hey, and it's great to have all these young faces here. Yeah? These young faces and the grey hair in the second row there, the gentlemen. You right there, Pops? You warm enough? Can you hear me? Do you remember the things I've said? You remember the war? The thing is, Pops, these kids in this front, look at them all, mother's milk wet on their face. These kids, right, they're not like you. When you was a lad, Pops, you had stuff to look forward to, didn't you, when you was a youngster, didn't you? Yeah? Stuff to look forward to, like winning World War II, like Elvis's music being discovered, the Beatles. All these kids have got to look forward to nowadays, living in Britain, right now, is the 2012 Olympics. And let's be honest, it's going to be a bit shit, isn't it?